Raymond Cole was 40 years old, a logistics operations manager who had spent 17 years making sure other people's systems ran cleanly, who fixed what was broken before it became a problem and showed up before he was asked, and left every job in better condition than he found it. He drove a truck he maintained himself. He wore work boots with a quarter-inch of sole left on them, kept because they still had work in them. He was not the kind of man who threw things away before they were finished. On a Thursday evening in August, his wife Paulette stood in the kitchen of the house he paid for and told him he had 2 hours to get his things together. Her boyfriend, she used the word without flinching, was coming at 9. She said she was sorry it had come to this. She said Raymond would be fine, because Raymond was always fine. She handed him a garbage bag. He took 2 bags. He filled them in 90 minutes. He drove to his cousin's house and slept on the couch. 2 years later, he was running his own division in a building downtown when he came in at 6:30 on a Wednesday morning and found a woman he used to know cleaning his office floor. She had no idea, when she took the cleaning job, whose name was on the door. Before we jump into the story, comment where in the world you are watching from, and subscribe because tomorrow's story is one you need to hear. The building was quiet at 6:30. The lobby lights on their overnight setting, the elevator empty, the hallways carrying the specific silence of a space between the last person leaving and the first person arriving. Raymond liked this hour. He had always arrived before his team in every role he had ever held, because the first person in sets the tone, and because he had learned at 22 that the condition of a space when you arrive tells you everything about how the work is going to go. He had his thermos. He had his notebook. He took the elevator to the 4th floor and walked the hallway and pushed open the glass door with his name on it. Raymond Cole, Director of Southeast Operations, Meridian Logistics, and stopped. She was on her knees beside the credenza. She had a cloth in her hand and a bucket beside her, and she had been cleaning the baseboard. She heard the door and turned. He looked at her. She looked at him. Paulette Simmons, she had gone back to her name, he had heard about 14 months ago, went through several things at once, visibly, recognition, adjustment, then the specific, contained expression of a person deciding how to hold themselves in a situation they had not prepared for. He stood in the doorway. He did not move toward her. He did not step back. "Raymond," she said. "Paulette," he said. They looked at each other across his office for a moment. The cleaning bucket between them. The credenza. His name on the door behind him, readable from where she was kneeling. He walked to his desk. He set down his thermos. He opened his notebook. He said, "Don't let me interrupt your work." She looked at him for one more moment. Then she turned back to the baseboard. Raymond Cole had grown up in Savannah, Georgia, the son of a long-haul truck driver who was on the road 4 days a week, and a mother who worked the overnight shift at a hospital laundry, and had raised Raymond and his 2 sisters with the particular discipline of a woman who could not afford mistakes. He had learned to cook at 11, to do laundry at 9, to fix a leaking faucet at 13 because his father was not there, and waiting was not a strategy his mother endorsed. He had gone into logistics because it was a field that rewarded the specific skill set he had been developing since childhood. The ability to see the full picture of a system, understand where it was fragile, and correct the problem before it became a failure. He was methodical and calm under pressure, and had a memory for operational detail that his supervisors had consistently noted in reviews, with the admiration of people who could not quite articulate why some people carried systems in their heads, while others needed to write everything down. He had worked for Meridian Logistics for 6 years. He had been promoted to regional manager in year 3 and to director in year 5. The director position had come with the 4th floor office, and the glass door and his name on it, and a salary that was more than twice what he had earned when he married Paulette. He had been earning that salary for 14 months when she handed him the garbage bag. He had been earning roughly twice that amount for the past 8 months after the Southeast expansion had come under his division. His name was now on 2 floors worth of operational responsibility. The building's directory had been updated in March. She had cleaned the lobby on the first floor 9 times before she cleaned the 4th floor for the first time. He had not known she worked for the cleaning company. He had not been informed which employees of which contractors serviced which floors. That was facilities management. He did not manage facilities. He had simply arrived at 6:30 on a Wednesday morning, and the building had produced this. The way buildings produce the things they contain when you open the right door at the right time. He had not arranged it, he had built, and the building had contained this, and now he was sitting at his desk 3 feet from a woman who had handed him a garbage bag on a Thursday in August and told him her boyfriend was coming at 9. He opened his notebook to the page he needed and began to review the morning's operations report. The year before the Thursday, in August, Raymond had understood that the marriage was not the marriage he had thought it was. He had met Paulette at 29, at a community event in Savannah that a cousin had dragged him to. She was 28, worked in payroll administration, was easy to be around in the way that some people are easy. She didn't complicate things. She didn't demand explanation. She took the world at something close to face value and moved through it without excessive friction. He had liked that. He had liked her laugh and her directness and the way she said exactly what she meant. He had loved her for 6 years. He had worked hard at the marriage with the same thoroughness he applied to systems, attending to the things that needed attention, maintaining the things that needed maintenance, showing up consistently and without complaint. He had assumed that what he was building would hold. He had not seen the fracture developing until it was structural. Her name was Marcus. Not Marcus. The man's name was Devante. Raymond had heard it twice before the Thursday. Once in a context she explained away. Once in a context she didn't explain. He had filed both away. He had extended good faith. He had been wrong to. The Thursday in August had not been a surprise in the way that genuine surprises are surprises. It had been the confirmation of something he had been carrying at arm's length for 4 months, the knowledge, held carefully, waiting for the moment it became undeniable. She had made it undeniable. He had taken the garbage bags. He had not argued. He had not asked her to reconsider. He had not called anyone that night to tell them what had happened. He had driven to his cousin Marcus's house, Marcus Reeves, who lived across the city, who had a couch and strong coffee, and the specific quality of a man who had seen difficult things and understood that sometimes the most useful thing you can offer is a bed and silence. Marcus had opened the door at 11:15 and looked at the 2 bags and said, "You can stay as long as you need." Raymond had said, "Not long." He had meant it. That was what Paulette had not understood. She had handed him the garbage bags with the specific confidence of someone who believed she was ending a situation that she had already outgrown. Someone who had assessed Raymond and what he brought, and had decided that what he brought was not what she needed. She had said he would be fine. She had said it the way you say something you believe, but have not fully examined. She had not been wrong that he would be fine. She had been wrong about why. His name was Marcus Reeves. He was 38 years old, Raymond's cousin, an electrician who had his own crew and a small office in a strip mall in East Atlanta, and a habit of speaking plainly that had made him either the most useful or the most difficult person in any room, depending on how much you wanted to hear the truth. He had a wife and 2 daughters and a house with a couch that had absorbed more than one person's difficult season. He had not pushed Raymond to talk during the 3 months Raymond slept in his spare room. He had asked one question on the second morning. "What do you need to do?" Raymond had thought about it. He had said, "Work." Marcus had nodded. He had refilled his coffee. He had gone to his own job and not said anything else about it. What Marcus had done in the 6 weeks after Raymond moved into the spare room was speak to every contact he had in the logistics and operations network in Atlanta about a director-level candidate who was currently between positions. He had not told Raymond he was doing this. He had done it the way he did most things, practically, without announcing the intention, because announcing it before it produced results was a waste of both their time. He called Raymond on a Saturday morning 7 weeks after the couch. "There's a meeting I need you to go to on Tuesday," he said. "It's with a VP at Meridian. Don't wear the boots." Raymond had said, "Who set this up?" Marcus had said, "I did. Don't wear the boots." The meeting with the Meridian VP was 47 minutes. Raymond answered every question precisely and asked 3 in return that told the VP, without Raymond intending this effect, that he understood the company's operational problems better than the person who had been hired to solve them for the past 18 months. The VP had called the following morning. Raymond had worn the boots to the first day of work because they still had work in them. He had been at Meridian for 2 years when she walked into his office with a cleaning bucket. He didn't think about her while she finished the baseboard. That was not performance. It was the truth of how he was built. He had learned over the past 2 years that attention was a finite resource, and that the things he directed it toward were the things that grew. He directed it toward his work, his team, his operational responsibilities, the specific problems that his division faced each morning and that he resolved, one by one, with the patience of a man who understood that systems require maintenance and maintenance requires presence. He did not direct it toward the past. When she had finished the baseboard and moved to the windows, he was on his second page of the operations report. When she finished the windows and was gathering her equipment to move to the next office, he looked up. She was standing near the door. She had the bucket in her hand. She was looking at the door, at the glass with his name on it, and he could see, from her profile, that she was making a calculation. Not about Raymond, about herself, about the specific distance between the woman who had handed a man a garbage bag and told him her boyfriend was coming at 9, and the woman standing in that man's office 2 years later holding a cleaning bucket. He could see her doing this arithmetic. He understood it. He had done his own arithmetic in a spare room for 3 months, and the answer he had arrived at was not about her. It was about what he was going to build next. He waited until she turned. "Paulette," he said. She looked at him. "How are you doing?" he said. He meant it as a question, not a performance. He asked it the way he asked anyone he had once known how they were doing, with the simple, genuine interest of a man who did not wish people ill. She looked at him for a moment. Something moved in her face that was not quite shame and not quite grief, and was most accurately described as the specific feeling of having arrived at a correct reckoning with yourself. "I'm okay," she said. "Working, figuring it out." He nodded. She asked how he was. He said he was well. He said it simply, without addition, because it was true, and because the simplicity was its own complete statement. She nodded. She picked up her bucket. "Raymond," she said. She stopped in the doorway. She did not look at him directly. She looked at a point slightly beside him, which was the look of someone saying something they have been assembling the words for. "I was wrong," she said. "About. I was wrong." He looked at her. He did not say "you were," or "that's all right," or "I know." He held the words for a moment, let them be what they were, and said, "I hope things get better for you." He meant that too. He had no desire for her to suffer. He had no investment in her difficulty. He had directed his attention elsewhere for 2 years, and that redirection had produced something real, and her suffering would not add anything to what he had built. She nodded once. She left. He turned back to the operations report. He finished it in 31 minutes. He started his next task. Marcus came by the office that Friday afternoon. He had a commercial electrical job in the building 2 blocks over, and he swung by, the way he sometimes did, with 2 coffees from the place on the corner that Raymond liked. He sat across the desk. He did not lead with pleasantries. "I heard," he said. Raymond had told him by text on Wednesday evening. Simple. "Paulette was cleaning my office this morning." Marcus had replied with, "How'd that go?" Raymond had replied, "Fine." Marcus had, characteristically, waited until Friday to ask for the actual answer. "How'd it actually go?" he said. Raymond told him. Precisely the baseboard, the bucket, the exchange, her apology if that was what it was, his response. Marcus was quiet for a moment. He drank his coffee. "You could have made it worse for her," Marcus said. Not accusingly, observationally. "I know," Raymond said. "You didn't." "No," Marcus looked at him. "Why not?" Raymond thought about this. He picked up his thermos. He set it down. He thought about the garbage bags, and the couch, and the 3 months of arithmetic, and the Tuesday meeting, and the boots with a 1/4 inch of sole that still had work in them. "Because she isn't what I'm building toward," he said. "She never was. What I'm building toward is out there." He nodded toward the window, toward the city, toward the operational systems that needed his attention, and the division that was performing, and the 4th floor, and the directory, and the next thing after that. What happened 2 years ago just cleared the space. Marcus looked at him for a long moment. "Your dad used to say something like that," he said. "I know," Raymond said. "I know where I got it." Marcus finished his coffee. He stood. He straightened his jacket, the way he always did when he was leaving somewhere. "Don't wear the boots to the board presentation next month," he said. "I'll think about it," Raymond said. Marcus left. Raymond turned back to the work. It did not happen all at once. The Southeast expansion ran well through the following year. Raymond's division metrics were reviewed at the quarterly board presentation, and the numbers produced by the operations work, on time rates, cost efficiency, client retention, were the kind of numbers that do not require explanation, because they explain themselves. The board approved the expansion of the division's scope in February. Raymond's title changed in March. His name moved to a larger office on the 6th floor. He ordered the same glass door he had had on 4, his name on it in the same font. He had one more encounter with Paulette. He was in the lobby one evening in October, leaving late, when she came through the service entrance with her cart. She saw him. He nodded. She nodded. They did not speak. He held the door for her. She thanked him. He walked to his car. He did not think about it after he got in the car. He drove home the way he always drove, with the radio on and the city outside the window, and the operations report from the day somewhere in the back of his mind sorting itself the way it always did during the commute, arriving at conclusions without him asking it to. Marcus's crew completed the electrical job 2 blocks over. The project ran 4 days under schedule. Marcus sent Raymond a text that said only, "Boots." Raymond sent back, "Always." He had 8 people on his team now. A 9th was starting after the new year. He answered every message from his team before he left the building. He gave accurate timelines and hit there was a small jade plant on the windowsill of his office on the 6th floor. His cousin had brought it when Raymond moved up. No card, just the plant, set down on the sill with the particular practicality of a man who expresses care through objects rather than speeches. Raymond watered it on Thursdays. On a cold evening in December, Raymond was the last one in the building. He had finished the year-end operations summary an hour ago and had stayed, not because there was more to do, but because there was a specific quality to a building at the end of a year that he had always appreciated, the way it held all the work that had been done inside it, quietly, without announcement. He stood at the 6th floor window. The city was lit up below. The streets carried the particular movement of a December evening, people going somewhere, the air carrying something sharp and clean. He could see, from where he stood, the street corner where the building stood that his cousin had wired 2 months ago. He could see the parking structure where he had sat in his truck for 3 months when he first started at Meridian, eating lunch alone because he was new and building things takes time. He thought about a Thursday in August and a garbage bag and a couch and a Tuesday meeting and a 1/4 inch of boot sole. He thought about 2 years of work, one decision at a time, one system understood and maintained and improved, one team member trusted, one timeline kept. He thought about a woman on her knees at his baseboard, about the arithmetic she had been doing in the doorway, about the word wrong said to a point slightly beside him, assembled over 2 years of arriving at. He did not feel triumph about that. He felt something quieter. The specific satisfaction of a man who built what he said he was going to build, who arrived where he said he was going to arrive, who found that the life on the other side of a garbage bag was larger and more solidly constructed than the one he had been removed from. He had always known he would be fine. He had just not known yet what fine was going to look like. Now he did. He picked up his thermos. He turned out the light. He went home. I hope you enjoyed that one. Be sure to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss the next story. I've picked out 2 more for you that I think you'll really like.